Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here with today's pregame report between the Edmonton Oilers and the Montreal Canadiens. Now, the last time these two teams met, the Oilers laid an absolute egg. That was the game that I got to go to in Montreal with my dad, and we got to witness up close the Oilers lose 3-0 to Montreal. Sam Montembeault that night had the shutout for the Habs, and the Oilers had nothing going that game. Montreal played perfect hockey. They took away the neutral zone. They used their speed to get in on the forecheck, and they scored some timely goals. And for an Oilers team right now that Kris Knoblauch calls fragile, Montreal has an opportunity to come in here feeling good. They're on a 5-game winning streak, and they are a younger, faster team that is only 2 points out of a playoff spot. And the Edmonton Oilers, they are still second in the Pacific Division. However, they have been on a downward spiral since the Four Nations, and some would argue even before the Four Nations occurred. The team, they're in shambles right now for Edmonton, and they need to find a way to dig themselves out of it. We've seen this team in Edmonton dig themselves out of holes. We've seen them battle through adversity in the past. And will they battle through it tonight? Are they going to be able to get the win? Keep gaining some points on the LA Kings, who are behind them in the standings? We're going to have to find out, because if the Oilers look in that rearview mirror, they'll see Vancouver and Calgary are only 7 points back of Edmonton right now. And yes, there's not a whole lot of time left in the season to catch up, but things happen very quickly in the NHL. They happen very quickly. So for Edmonton, they've got to find a way to turn things around immediately. They've got to find a way to get a win tonight. So in today's pregame report, as always, we'll talk about the lineups for Edmonton, because there's a couple injury concerns here and a couple call-ups that they made last night, which we will discuss. We'll give my game day stats, so all the numbers for both sides. And then, of course, the keys to the game, players to watch, and score prediction. So, as always, please let me know who your players to watch are. Let me know your keys to the game. Let me know your score prediction. And if you enjoy this pregame report, make sure to smash that like button. And if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to the channel as we continue to climb ever so closer to 5,000 subs. And it is very exciting. So, without further ado, let's discuss the lineups, because yesterday, these were the lineups in practice. There's a few things to talk about that are noteworthy. Number one, Matthew Savoie has been loaned back to Bakersfield. He got loaned to Bakersfield because if he was not on the AHL roster when the NHL trade deadline hits, he would not have been eligible for the AHL playoffs. So obviously they want to make sure that he's down there. He is on that roster. And then after the trade deadline, they can of course bring him back up, which I want to say they will. I do get the impression that the team liked what they saw in Savoie, but we'll see. Top line, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman, and it goes without saying, all three of these players need to start producing more, and they all need to be a lot better than they have been. We've seen McDavid the last 2 games, I would say. His game looks like it's trending back up, especially against Anaheim. I thought he was flying in that game, especially the first period before the Oilers just completely collapsed and gave up 4 goals in 6.5 minutes. But for Connor McDavid, he has looked not quite himself for very extended periods of the season. Over the last, I think, 12 games or 11 games, I think he has 0 5-on-5 points. So for Connor McDavid, got to find a way to generate some offense and help your line mates as well. I know I'm pretty hard on Nugent-Hopkins. I have been hard on Zach Hyman this season for their lack of scoring, but a lot of that offense does come through Connor McDavid. So if he's not going, Hyman and RNH, they are not line drivers, right? They need McDavid to just be a little bit better, and then hopefully they can bury some opportunities for him as well. It is by committee. I'm not saying that McDavid is an issue right now. That's not what I'm saying, but it has to be by committee for that top line, because when your top line is being regularly outscored at 5-on-5, you are not going to have success in the NHL, and you're not going to win a lot of hockey games. Second line, Vasily Podkolzin with Leon Draisaitl and Victor Arvidsson. Now, Podkolzin has gone ice cold. Ice cold. Yes, he has a couple of assists here and there. However, in his last 10 games, he has 7 shots on goal. He's averaging less than a shot on goal per game since the Four Nations. And if you're going to be beside Leon Draisaitl, who obviously can shoot the puck, he is the best goal scorer in the NHL this year, Podkolzin, Draisaitl needs a trigger man. Draisaitl is a playmaker, I would argue, sometimes first. I think Draisaitl is one of the most underrated playmakers in the entire NHL. Podkolzin's got to start ripping the biscuit. Now, Victor Arvidsson, on the other hand, he likes to just rip it from everywhere, which is good. I like that shot-first mentality. But for Arvidsson, I'd like to see him just slow down just a little bit. I find his legs are moving a lot quicker than what he's able to process up here in his brain, and then he falls down a lot. Arvidsson's just got to slow down, take a breath. If Draisaitl finds him, pick your corner and just rip it. We know the type of player Arvidsson can be. We've seen him snipe some goals this season. Before the Four Nations, he had that incredible short side top shelf goal against the Chicago Blackhawks. So we need that second line to get going as well. Leon Draisaitl can't be the only guy on this entire team that is producing offense. It makes no sense. And, guys got to step up here. If you're going to get yourselves out of this huge hole that you're in right now, everyone has to step up. And for Leon Draisaitl, he has, he is committed to his end of the bargain. Everyone else needs to follow suit because it's just not good enough up and down this lineup, especially the bottom six. Third line, Matthias Janmark, Adam Henrique, and Connor Brown. This is going to be the third consecutive game that Kris Knoblauch has put this line together. And I would say out of the last two games, they have probably been the worst line that this team has. The Draisaitl line against Anaheim was a -4, but I would argue that the goaltending was worse than what was happening with the players on the ice. Not to take away Draisaitl's back check and not to take away his giveaway in that first period. I'm not saying that, he can't get away with that because it was not good enough. However, I don't think that line deserved to be -4, and this third line has been a minus throughout the whole season. They regularly get outchanced and outscored. This line has not been good since the playoffs. And during the playoffs, it was unsustainable. There were a lot of people in the analytics community that said these three together over the course of an entire season would not likely be able to sustain what they did during the postseason. And that has come to fruition. All the metrics show that trio just does not work. It's like last year with Nurse and Ceci. All the metrics in the world showed that Nurse and Ceci did not work together, but they kept playing them together. And right now, that's what we're seeing with Janmark, Henrique, and Brown. The metrics are not good. Those three need to be split up. You need to have different guys on different lines. And for some reason, this coaching staff is like, nope, we're gonna stick with these three. We're going to change all the lines all the time, but these three specifically, that's who we're going to keep out there. And it's like, I don't know. I don't like it. And they do go up against other teams' top lines regularly in a shutdown role. Not good. Not good. I don't want to see that anymore. But again, everyone has an opportunity here. It's a clean slate. Every single game that you play is a clean slate. Maybe Henrique comes in and he scores another goal. He did have a shorthanded goal a couple of games ago, which was great. Maybe someone becomes a hero tonight. I'd love to see someone become a hero because Connor Brown, I think, has 1 goal in his last 30 games or something. Someone's got to fact check me on that. I feel like Connor Brown only has 1 goal in his last 30 games, and it came during 3-on-3 overtime against the Blues. So they need way more from all three of these players. Matthias Janmark hasn't even scored against a goalie this season. He hasn't even taken a shot on net that has gone in. That he scored earlier in the season into an empty net, and then the other goal that he scored went off of his butt and past the goalie. So he has not actually shot a puck past a goaltender this season. We need a lot more from you, Matthias Janmark. Fourth line, Jeff Skinner continues to be in the doghouse. Kasperi Kapanen centering beside Corey Perry there. And again, other than Corey Perry, nobody here produces anything except Jeff Skinner does in his limited minutes, but he never gets that opportunity in the top 6. We talk about wanting someone that can be a trigger man with Leon Draisaitl. Jeff Skinner's right there. Look at him. Look at him. He's over. He's right there. Hey, Kris Knoblauch, do you see Jeff Skinner? He's right there. Play him up with Draisaitl. Draisaitl needs someone that can shoot the puck. Podkolzin has 7 shots on goal in his last 10 games. Put Jeff Skinner up. No? You don't want to put Jeff Skinner up there? Okay, that's fine. And the Oilers, they did call up Max Jones, recently acquired from the Boston Bruins. He is, at this point in his career, more of an AHL career guy. However, if there are injuries, he does have some NHL experience. He has some size. He has some grit. You're not going to get a lot of offense from Max Jones. In 7 games with the Bruins this year, he was a -4. He had 0 goals and 0 assists, 0 points. But again, it's a depth option. If you just want to get a guy a different look, if you just want to see what players can bring to the lineup, maybe some players are a better fit than others. But I don't expect Max Jones to get into the lineup unless Kris Knoblauch really hates Jeff Skinner and wants him healthy scratched again. Then maybe we'll see Max Jones in the lineup here. On defense, Nurse with Bouchard, Kulak with Emberson, Dineen with Stetcher, Ekholm, Klingberg. These are not the defense pairs that we're going to see. In practice yesterday, Nurse was with Bouchard because Ekholm was off, and it is likely Matthias Ekholm does not play tonight. I don't get the impression that Ekholm is playing. I think they're shutting him down for a couple days here just to get him some extra rest. I think he's a little banged up. He was sick before the Four Nations. He came back. I think he's a little dinged up now. So he likely does not play. They did call up Cam Dineen from Bakersfield on an emergency basis the other day. They sent him back down. Now he's back up. I would expect to see Dineen either in the lineup or the 7th D-man, assuming Klingberg can or can't go as well, because Klingberg was not on the ice during practice yesterday either. And in goal, we'll have Stuart Skinner. Stu! We're looking for a big game from Stu. I have the Stuart Skinner hockey card behind me at all times because I love Stu. I support Stu. I want the best for Stu. But historically speaking, it hasn't been good enough. The goaltending has not even been close to good enough. And I don't think there's going to be a trade where the Oilers get a goalie because every option is either being re-signed or they get hurt. John Gibson last night, once again, injured for the Anaheim Ducks. Karel Vejmelka from Utah, he signed an extension there, and that was another goalie that I really wanted. If New Jersey decides they want to be sellers now that Jack Hughes is injured, maybe you go after a Jake Allen. I don't know what the answer is in the crease for Edmonton anymore, but whatever the answer is, if Skinner's the guy, if management is giving these goaltenders their seal of approval and their, hey, you're the guys that we want to run with, I'm going to support it. I'm not going to support management's decision, but I will support the players because as a fan, I want what's best for the players. I want what's best for the team, and I cheer the players all the time. Just because I'm hard on them doesn't mean I don't cheer for them, right? So let's not get that twisted. Skinner, I hope he can turn his game around. For the sake of this team and for this fan base, I hope he plays a good game tonight. Taking a look at the game day stats, the Montreal Canadiens, they are 30-26-5. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games. Expected goals for ranks 27th in the NHL. Their power play ranks 17th. Their penalty kill, though, top 5 in the league this year, 82.3%. Goals for per game, they're almost at 3 goals per game. Goals against per game, 3.31. Corsi for ranks 24th, and shots for percentage ranks 26th. The Montreal Canadiens as a whole are not world beaters when it comes to puck possession, offense, special teams, other than the penalty kill. Their 5-on-5 metrics are not strong. However, over the last month and a half or so, they have been much, much better. And for an Edmonton Oilers team that is struggling and for a Montreal Canadiens team that is on the upswing here, this is going to be a tough test for Edmonton. I would not put too much stock into the overall metrics for Montreal. They are a good team. They are on the cusp of making the playoffs. Whether they do it this year or not, I'm not sure. But the fact that they're in that conversation, they're only 2 points out of a wild card spot, is just incredibly impressive. It's impressive, and I love to see that. For the Edmonton Oilers, they are 35-22-4. They are 3-7 in their last 10 games. They've lost 6 of their last 7 in regulation, so they've got to turn that around quick here. Expected goals for ranks 4th in the league. Their power play climbed up to 5th, 26.5%. Penalty kill, ranks 25th. Goals for per game ranks 9th. Goals against per game has dropped down to 14th now. Before the Four Nations, they were a top 7, top 8 team in goals against. Now they're 14th because they just keep giving up 5 goals per game. Corsi for ranks 4th, and shots for percentage ranks 3rd. So if you take a look at all the numbers here, it gives you an idea of which team on paper should win, but the game is not played on a sheet of paper. It is played on a sheet of ice. So let's get into the keys of the game, and then, of course, players to watch and score prediction. The keys to the game for the Edmonton Oilers: make simple plays. You don't have to do these complicated passing plays. You don't have to just pick your shots. Make the simple play. Don't overthink it. Just make your simple plays. I think if they get down to just basic hockey here, they can get themselves out of a hole. They do not have to do more than what's necessary to have success, right? Just make your 4-foot passes, quick plays, shots to the net, crash the crease, and work the cycle, right? In saying that, they need to support down low in their own zone. They need to support their goalie. They need to support the top of the crease. They need to clear the slot area, and don't give the opponent anything easy. Don't give them that easy shot. Make other teams work for every single inch on the ice. Right? We talk a lot about the goaltending, which obviously is a massive, massive problem in Edmonton. But a lot of times, players on opposing teams have way too much time and space to make a play or make a pass or get a shot off. And I want the Oilers to be a lot harder to play against in that aspect. And of course, all 3 zones. The Edmonton Oilers have to be better in the defensive zone, the neutral zone, and the offensive zone. They're not generating enough offense. In the neutral zone, they're giving up way too many rush attacks, and they're giving up that blue line too often for easy zone entries. And then defensively, they've been an absolute mess lately. So Those are the keys to the game for Edmonton. It's a lot to ask, I think, but hopefully they can figure at least one or two of those keys to the game out tonight. For the Habs, their keys to the game: strike early. The quicker that Montreal can score, the quicker that you are going to plant that seed of doubt in Edmonton's brain here. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, Kris Knoblauch has called the Edmonton Oilers fragile numerous times now. If Montreal gets that first goal, especially if it's a stinker, right? If it's just a random wrister from 35 feet out that beats Stu, oh boy, the crowd's going to be jeering them because there's going to be a lot of Habs fans in attendance tonight. There always is when the original 6 team comes to Edmonton. If Montreal strikes first, big problems for the Oilers. For Montreal as well, use your speed and skill. I mentioned the Oilers have really struggled at defending the rush through the neutral zone. Montreal can take advantage of that for sure. Montreal is the younger and faster team, and they're a team playing with confidence, and they have the ability to just blow right by you if you're not playing properly in your structure. And of course, for Montreal, though, they have to stay disciplined. The Edmonton Oilers power play is starting to turn red hot here. It's one of the only things that has actually been a positive note for the team over the past several weeks. So for Montreal, if they want to make sure they win this hockey game, they got to stay disciplined. Don't give the Oilers the chance to become power play merchants again. Remember when everyone called the Oilers power play merchants a couple years ago because it seemed like that was the only way they could score consistently? They had that 34% power play from 2022, 23, or whatever year it was. Don't give the Oilers that opportunity to become a power play merchant. Stay disciplined if you're a Habs fan. All right, players to watch. Leon Draisaitl for Edmonton because he seems to be the only player that is worth watching these days. And Nick Suzuki for Montreal. Nick Suzuki has been red hot for the Habs. He has 13 points in his last 5 games. Since the Four Nations, he's been like, hey, look how good I am. I'm an elite player in the NHL. And he's proved it. Nick Suzuki has been a ton of fun to watch. And for Habs fans, I'm sure you all absolutely love watching him every single night. Lucky to have a player like him. He is terrific. Now, what is my score prediction? Well, I'm predicting a pretty fun, wild game tonight. I'm going to go 5-4 Habs in overtime. Yes, Oilers fans, I know you want me to predict the Oilers to win. The Oilers are in a rut. Montreal's on the upswing. I think we're going to have a fun back-and-forth game. These two teams usually play pretty fun hockey. The last game that was in Montreal in November, that was not fun if you're an Oilers fan. I do expect things to open up just a little bit here, and I expect this to be a fun back-and-forth game. 5-4 Montreal in overtime. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Oilers get the win in regulation, but we'll have to find out later tonight. That is it from me. This pregame report is a little longer than they usually are, so if you're still watching at this point, thank you all so much for tuning in. Your support means the world. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and as always, tell someone that you love them. Fight like a kid, fight like Ben. We'll see you in the post-game fan reaction after the game. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.